Hi everyone, it's Julia Carrier and this is my nursing school journey, and I went with the theme of overcoming obstacles. I thought I would just start off with a general timeline of my journey through nursing school. So in 2017 to 2018 I was starting off as a freshman, and then I started in the core nursing classes in 2018 to 2019. 2019 to 2021, I hit a lot of bumps along the road of my college journey, and then I returned back to nursing classes in 2021 to 2022, and now we're in 2022 to 2023, and it's just the finish line and getting to graduation. My first year at Worcester State was 2017 to 2018. I remember being really excited when I got my acceptance letter in the mail from Worcester State. The first picture is a picture of my mom and I on Accepted Students Day, and the second picture is me and some of my friends that went to the same school. During my first semester of freshman year, I decided to live on campus. I wanted to make sure that I felt I had received the whole college experience. I also ran cross country for the Worcester State team, but only for my first year. During freshman year, I was taking prerequisite courses. I remember finally feeling like a nursing student after we had our white coat ceremony. I also joined the Phi Eta Sigma Honor Society. This was the first of many honor societies that I was invited to join throughout my college journey. My next year at Worcester State was 2018 to 2019. Sophomore year was really exciting because we started learning basic nursing tasks in the labs, and we were able to start practicing them in the field at our clinical sites. Also, during my sophomore year, a couple of my nursing friends and I started a Relay for Life team. It was the first time I had ever been to one of the events, and it was really cool to see what they were all about. I also joined another honor society, the National Society of Collegiate Scholars. I decided to group the years 2019 to 2021 because they were the years that I had a lot of challenges arise in my life. This year started with more focused labs for maternity and med-surg. Both of the pictures that I included are from two different maternity labs that we had. Failing maternity was a huge wake-up call for me. I felt like before it happened, I'd just been going with the flow of all the other nursing students and had lost myself along the way. There's a lot of emotion that you go through when you fail a nursing class. Writing my letter of readmission was a really hard thing to do. And I remember checking my email every day, waiting for a response to find out the fate of myself in the nursing program. Then the COVID-19 outbreak hit, and I ended up needing to wait an entire year to get back into the program. While at the time, I was very frustrated by this, I am now so grateful that I had that time to find myself and become more confident in my nursing care. During the next semester, I decided to try and finish up the rest of my electives. That way, when I got back into the nursing program, I could focus solely on my nursing courses. Then, in the middle of the semester, COVID shut down the on-campus activities, and we went into a remote learning setting. I remember being so grateful I wasn't in nursing courses at the time because I'm such a hands-on learner, and losing that aspect of my learning would have made me really nervous. Later on in the semester, I also found out I wouldn't be getting back into the program until the fall of 2021. At first, I was very frustrated, but now looking back at it, I'm glad that's how it turned out. Rather than taking a break from college, I decided to take up a second major in public health. I used the time to teach myself better time management skills and worked hard to do well in my courses. After taking all of these public health courses, I felt like I could be a more well-rounded nurse, as I understood not only how to take care of patients, but what leads to them being admitted in the hospital in the first place. I've always been passionate about helping people feel better, but learning about public health actions that can lessen the impact of health consequences on people intrigued me as well. Prior to no longer being in the program, our class designed pages about why we wanted to be a nurse. but after I failed, I remember questioning if nursing was really what I wanted to do. However, I gained a lot of real-life nursing experience during this time that confirmed that I chose the right profession for me. As one of the only healthcare professionals in my entire family, when different health conditions came up, I was one of the go-to people, and unfortunately during this time, a lot of health conditions occurred. First, my grandfather was diagnosed with lung cancer. He can be seen as a smiling bald man in the middle of my goofy family picture. He tackled his diagnosis and started receiving rounds of chemotherapy and radiation. Even though they lived in South Carolina, my family made sure to be very involved in his treatment, with one of my aunts always being there during his chemotherapy rounds. I remember being there for his final treatment, and we were so excited. A little after my grandpa's diagnosis, my aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer. She elected to have a double mastectomy, and while she was recovering, she stayed at my house so I could empty and monitor her Jackson Pratt drains and clean her suture sites. I also found myself frequently assessing how she was feeling because I understood that a double mastectomy is an emotional surgery to go through. Lastly, my mom clean severed her Achilles tendon in a freak accident at her work. She was in cast for months after the corrective surgery and was unable to put any pressure on it or move in the way she had before. It was sad for me because I watched her mental health worsen because before this she was such an active person. It was at this time that I truly understood how much an injury or disease can impact even the strongest people. A year after her initial injury, my mom had to go back into surgery to get the buildup of scar tissue removed around her tendon. While the recovery time for this was a lot less, I know that she's now very grateful to be able to walk and drive again like she could before. In the middle of the COVID pandemic, my grandpa learned that his lung cancer had metastasized to his brain. With this news, he and my grandma came up to Massachusetts for his hospice care so that everyone could see him. While everyone else was being cautious with COVID, my family was constantly coming together, having get-togethers, making sure we got to spend time with my grandpa. Before this, I'd never watched someone's condition deteriorate, especially not someone so close to me. So watching one of my biggest role models go through this was such a hard experience. He always encouraged me and believed that I would be an amazing nurse, so I knew that getting back into the program, I wanted to do everything that I could to make him proud. My next year is 2021 to 2022. While I was super nervous to get back into the groove of nursing classes, it was really exciting to be back at clinicals and labs. With my newly developed study skills, I found myself doing better in my courses. Studying may have taken up more time than it previously had, but I was really proud of my accomplishments. In September, I started working as a PCA on a general med surg floor at UMass Memorial. Through this job, I gained more confidence in my general nursing care and skills. And on top of this, I learned how to effectively communicate, not only with patients, but with other healthcare professionals. Near the end of my spring semester was another very emotional time. My childhood dog passed away, and it was sad because she had been a member of my family for over half of my life. My grandma also ended up getting sick and unfortunately never made it out of the hospital. While it was unexpected, my family took great comfort in the fact that she passed away on the same day my grandfather did, just 2 years later. We'd been waiting to have a service for my grandpa until we could have one for both of them, but I hadn't realized how much their deaths had truly impacted me until everyone was giving me hugs at the funeral and we were saying our goodbyes at the cemetery. And finally, it's the last year, 2022 to 2023. This year has been filled with a lot of excitement. We did some really fun and different labs than what we were used to, and I joined another honor society called the National Society of Leadership and Success. Later on, in my spring semester, I also joined the Sigma Nursing Honor Society. On a different note, right at the start of the spring semester, my cat knocked over a drink and it ended up frying my SSD hard drive in my computer. I lost all my files and pictures, pretty much everything that I had on my laptop. There was no way of knowing if I could get any of the files back without sending out my hard drive along with $500 and then praying that someone could get the files off. And then, if they could get the files off, I'd have to pay them more money for all of those expenses. Rather than doing this, I just decided to buy a new hard drive and then start fresh on my computer again. My biggest stress was the fact that I didn't know how I was going to make my digital portfolio project
because I had saved all my files together, but thankfully I had them saved in different locations, and my mom had taken a lot of pictures at different events that I went to as well. During my spring semester, I had a preceptorship at St. Vincent Hospital in the emergency department. I was so nervous to start because before this, I had felt that the ER is where I wanted to work, but I hadn't had much experience there to be able to confirm it. It took me not even a day to realize that it was exactly the place for me. Everyone there was so helpful and got me involved in anything that they could, which is a big reason why it was so memorable. Overall, I was very happy with my entire experience and all the great people that I met there, and I can't wait to start working there after I pass my boards. Over spring break, I went to Ireland with a couple other nursing students. This was the first time I'd ever traveled outside of the US, so it was definitely a new experience. While we were there, not only did we get to explore the island, we also got to see what nursing practice and education is like in a different country. We participated in a few classroom discussions and went to several nursing facilities for tours and to learn more about what they do at each of them. It was a wonderful way to close out my nursing school journey. I just wanted to thank everyone that has been with me through my journey in nursing school. It certainly had its challenges and obstacles, but because of the amazing support in my life, I'm now graduating, which is so exciting. Although I didn't have the journey I was expecting when I first started at Worcester State, I'm very grateful for the way that it all played out, and I can't wait to start my journey as an RN.